Afternoon, a Manhattan jury found Donald Trump guilty on all counts of falsifying business records to cover up a payment to an adult film actress.
All right, so if you're still wrapping your mind around all this, that is okay. We are all in uncharted territory in the nation's history together. So let's talk about 3 things you should know before you go to bed tonight. First up, Trump's sentencing is set for July 11th. That's just a few days before the Republican National Convention. Second, the sentence is up to the judge in this case. That could mean prison time or even probation. And third, no surprise here, Trump plans to continue his campaign for president. Here's what he told reporters shortly after today's verdict.
The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution.
Yeah, as you can see right there, after court, the former president returned to Trump Tower. He plans to address reporters in about 12 hours.
Tonight, we're on the stories that matter connected to this. Katie Lusso and Alexis Wainwright are talking to voters. Adam Longo has been working his Zoom tonight. He is in the newsroom where he's been catching up with our local lawmakers.
Regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum, the word historic in regards to this verdict can't be overstated. The United States has had 46 presidents since George Washington took the oath of office in 1789, 234 years ago. Donald Trump is the only one of those 46 men to be convicted on felony charges. Now, I reached out to a whole bunch of our local House representatives and all the local Republicans. In fact, there are only a handful, being that our area leans heavily Democrat. Well, none of those Republicans got back to me for an interview, but I did see some of them active on social media, including Maryland Republican Andy Harris, who shared this today. Today's verdict, a travesty of justice, a blatant attempt by the Biden Justice Department to jail a political opponent. I stand with President Trump in his fight to defeat the political persecution that's turning our justice system into a third world banana republic. Here now from Virginia Republican Morgan Griffith. Quote, the verdict reached today in New York concerning President Trump, a bad decision. The decision in large measure due to trial errors based on what was presented. I don't see evidence of a crime taking place. And then he adds down here, like in the case of former Governor Bob McDonnell, I fully expect the case to be overturned on appeal. Now, on the Democratic side, I spoke with Virginia's Jerry Connolly and Maryland's Glenn Ivey. I wanted to know, to what extent do they think this verdict could affect the outcome of the presidential election?
Biden is not going to win this in the courtroom. He's got to win it at the ballot box. That's going to happen on Election Day. And he's got to make sure that he does everything in his power to make that happen.
It may not sway hardcore MAGA voters in Alabama, but it most certainly could have an impact on suburban Milwaukee, suburban Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, suburban Detroit.
Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, 3 swing states being referenced there by Congressman Connolly that could hold the keys to the White House this November. Adam Longo, WUSA 9.
All right, now let's get to what the people have to say, the voters. You're going to hear from the former president's supporters in Virginia and Maryland in just a moment. But we begin in the district with Alexis Wainwright and some neighbors in DuPont who were pleased about the jury's findings.
It's the perfect day to sit out at DuPont Circle in Northwest. Not because of the warm weather, but instead for the progressive thinkers to gather.
I couldn't be more shocked on all counts.
I felt that there was no way that a former president would ever be a convicted felon.
Some Washingtonians said they didn't watch the former President Donald Trump's hush money trial, but now
I was kind of shocked that we actually got a guilty verdict.
Pleasantly surprised.
People like Marilyn Millstone say they assumed it would be a simple slap on the wrist for Trump, but now she's expressed relief.
I think it speaks to the very American idea that's been lost for the past several years, that there should be consequences for your actions.
A handful of people around having similar conversations face to face and by phone.
It also shows you that it's a justice system at work and that nobody is above the law. And it definitely is a confidence booster.
But now this feels like a light ahead of election season.
To me, this is justice in action. The way to make America great again is to abide by American values.
But some are still asking each other what this means for the future.
I don't know. I feel like people will still vote for him.
It'd be interesting to see, like, how does that set the tone to, say, future presidents, and how would that alter their conduct as a result?
And just 5 hours ago, we learned that some bars right here in Northwest are hosting celebrations and parties with drink specials in honor of the jury's decision to convict. Live tonight in Northwest, Alexis Wainwright, WUSA 9.
People marking this day in a myriad of ways. Alexis, thank you.
Yeah, and no surprise there because D.C. is a stronghold for the Democrats. It's a little bit of a different story, though, not too far away from here. Tonight, our Katie Lusso went to Calvert County, Maryland, which Trump won in both the 2016 and 2020 elections. She's introducing us to a big fan of the former president.
Tonight I spoke with the self-proclaimed loudest Trump supporter in all of Calvert County.
Well, that's what I'm told anyway. I think I'm the most vocal because I got a mouth and I use it very vigorously.
Linda Dement was born and raised in Calvert County and now lives along Route 4 in Huntingtown. She was on her way home from Florida Thursday when she got the news that Donald Trump had been found guilty.
People say history was made today. What will you remember today as?
More idiots doing stupid stuff. Like he said, it's a witch hunt. And I know that's what it is. They hate that man so bad.
Back in 2016, if you drove along Route 4, her house was hard to miss.
I put total vegetation, put Trump across the hill, and they stole my flagpole in 2016. I built it up bigger, better, electrified it. I figured you're going to touch it now, you're going to be laying there the next day.
She says he had her support then and has it now.
I don't consider myself Trump crazy. I just want the country better. Trump's got a mouth, I've got a mouth. He's says some things sometimes. I'm like, oh, Trump, just tone it down. But he was a good president. The economy was good. Our parents were eating. Our seniors can go to the grocery store. We can put gas in our car with Trump. Y'all don't get that with Biden.
And come November,
Would you vote for him in the election?
Of course. I don't care what he did before he was president. Like I said, Clinton did it while he was president in the Oval Office.
And she says once she knows for sure whether or not he's going to be on the ballot in November, she will be putting back up all of her decor and signs. In Calvert County, I'm Katie Lusso, WUSA 9.
In just a couple of hours, Virginia Republicans will meet their 2024 party convention.
Yeah,
They'll
so
meet
delegates, they're going to get together in Hampton Roads to vote for a state chairman and 2 electors. They'll be the ones to cast Virginia's votes in the Electoral College should the Republican nominee win Virginia.
And one of those delegates is from Loudoun County. She spoke with Rafael Sanchez Cruz.
Tonight I spoke to Joanne Chase from Loudoun County. She's been volunteering with the Trump campaign since 2016. To start, she said that when she heard the guilty verdict, she was devastated, but she says this entire case is bogus and corrupt. Chase says she believes this decision will help strengthen Trump's base and undecided voters. Here's why.
How many human beings of any age, of any nationality, creed, or religion could withstand what President Trump has been going through and still have the energy, the intellect, the desire, and the strength to keep on fighting for making America great? They understand that this guy loves this country. And I firmly believe that they're all going to come out, even from holes they've never voted before, and they're going to vote and reelect President Trump.
Now, Chase's comments are backed by the latest PBS NewsHour NPR Marist poll. It shows that 2 out of 3 registered U.S. voters say the guilty verdict will not have an effect on who they plan to vote for. That includes 74% of independents. 1 in 4 Republicans said they would be even more likely to vote for Trump if he were found guilty by a jury like he was today. Now, Joanne Chase says right now the campaign is reaching out to the Virginia candidates who have been endorsed by Trump to get them to rally behind him. She insists this is just the energy they need to get a victory in November.
All right, Rafa, and obviously one of the big questions after this verdict is what impact it will have on the presidential race. We put that question to American University professor and political analyst Lenny Steinhorn, who's been in Manhattan following this case.
Everybody is talking about it. It's sort of the backdrop of every conversation.
Independent voters, according to Steinhorn, could be swayed by the guilty verdict. He argues voters could see Trump's crimes as altering the course of history, saying had he not paid hush money to a porn star, he might not have won the 2016 election. The verdict could also serve to further embolden Trump's hardcore MAGA supporters as he continues to sow doubts about the legitimacy of the trial.
His supporters will then see themselves as victims as well, because they will identify with him. This is exactly the narrative that Donald Trump has been developing and articulating.
After January 6th and Trump's repeated refrain of a rigged election, can the American judicial system withstand Trump's attacks against its credibility?
If he succeeds in sort of getting a large chunk of people to be able to sort of doubt the sort of effectiveness and fairness of our judicial system, that's not good for our democracy.
You know, one thing that sets WUSA 9 News at 11 apart is the Verify team. So our team gets you confirmed answers to your questions, and we show you how they got there.
Yeah, and tonight we asked our John Duran to look into the top 3 questions people were searching for online in the first hour after the verdict.
First, our source for these answers, the Constitution and Caroline Polisi. She's a federal criminal defense partner at Armstrong Teasdale and a legal analyst for CBS News. So from the moment the verdict was read, our digital team said the number of people searching this question soared. Can Trump run for president as a convicted felon? The answer is yes. The Constitution lays out 3 eligibility requirements for becoming president. You have to be a natural-born American citizen, be at least 35 years old, and have been a U.S. resident for at least 14 years. So next, can Trump campaign outside of New York State? The answer is yes, if he doesn't see jail time. But Polisi says if he's sentenced to probation, he would be required to clear any out-of-state travel with a probation officer. So is the former president likely to see jail time? Polisi says that's unlikely, and that anyone in Trump's shoes as a first-time nonviolent offender will be sentenced to probation. Sentencing is scheduled for mid-July, only a few days before the Republican National Convention, where Trump is expected to become the party's nominee for president. With your Verify, I'm John Duran.